So I did something really cool a couple weeks ago, and I went to NAMM. Now, if you don't know, NAMM stands for this. And basically, it's just a giant music conference where every music manufacturer, a whole lot of musicians, software companies, buyers, distributors, all come together to display their awesome gear that's coming out in the current year. Might sound kind of lame for people who go to NAMM every year, but I've always wanted to go. Ever since I was a little kid, I started playing guitar at 12. There were kind of two big things, after I started learning more about the music world that I wanted to do. One, I wanted to go to Berklee College of Music, and while I did get accepted, I didn't end up going. And then two, I wanted to go to freaking NAMM, and the reason is because anyone that's like anyone in the music industry goes there, and it's just kind of a cool thing. And, in hindsight, I did kind of hype it and blow it out of proportion, although I knew that now as an adult what it was going to be like. But it was totally worth it, and I recommend anyone that can go. And so a couple things I want to talk about. I just want to share my experience, talk about how you might be able to go to NAMM, how I went to NAMM, and just little things along the way. So first of all, NAMM is not an open event. It is closed off to people in the industry. So you do have to apply to become either a member of NAMM or you can go as like a media person. Now, I had an interesting case where I kind of went as both. If you don't know, I run a company called Genera Studios, which is a music software company. We make contact libraries and also sample packs, but there are other companies that do contact libraries that are there. So I qualified and I registered my company with NAMM, which, it has other perks. In addition to just going to NAMM, it offers a lot of awesome educational content and help for people in the industry trying to make money with their music in whatever way they're doing it. And I also went as a media person. While I was there, technically you're not supposed to film anything without permission from each booth if you're not a media person. So that made me nervous. So I went to the media people and I just told them like, hey, I have a YouTube channel, I run a blog on this website, and I want to be able to document stuff. And they were like, cool. And they checked me out and gave me a media badge. So I actually had two different ways to be there. So I guess that answers the first question. If you want to go to NAMM, you have to be in the industry in some way. They have a very specific list of terms. You can't be like, I don't think you can be like a music teacher, and I don't think you can be like a music production studio. So like those two things, you have to sell some kind of music product, whether that be software or hardware related. You can also be a distributor, so like Guitar Center, Sweetwater, or like a buyer, which I don't know how they segregate those. But basically everyone gets these different name tags that shows like if they're with a certain company or whatever. And now there's the other aspect, the media thing, that is if you have like a YouTube channel, if you have really popular social media accounts, if you run a blog, if you work at a magazine, any of those things, either you yourself or your company can get badges for. Now, a friend of mine, Big Jerry, you've probably seen him show up a couple times on this channel. He also went and he was teaching a class because at NAMM, it's not just those crazy booths that I was showing in that little intro segment. It's a lot of courses. Like at any moment in time, there's like 2 to 3 different sit-down lectures or seminars or courses that you can go and attend. And these range from like how to grow social media accounts, how to run effective advertisements, how to run a company that sells guitars, it's how to produce music. And Jerry was teaching a class on Ableton Live specifically because he's a certified Ableton certified trainer. And I believe he had a different pass. There was something like invited speaker or something like that. So those are the ways that you could go to NAMM. Now, let me talk a little bit about what you should expect and how you can prepare. Now, my purpose of going was to, one, it's super cool. 2, see products that are upcoming to kind of plan out what I want to buy, what I want to cover in terms of my like overall content. 3, I wanted to see the smaller companies at booths and kind of evaluate if that's a path I want to go down in the future and get a booth for Genera Studios because there's a lot of exposure. I couldn't afford it this year. It didn't make sense, but in future years, it's a cool option. And then next would just be networking, I guess. Like I wanted to actually meet my friend Big Jer in person. We met up and it was cool. It's weird like talking to someone online and then finally seeing them in person. I've had that happen a couple times in life. It's always unique. And I actually met this guy. So 5 points for you if you can name who that is in the comments. So what you actually do every day is really up to you. You could spend your entire day walking across this gigantic show floor, just checking out awesome gear, playing with it, asking people questions, mingling with the other guests or attendees, and just that's it. You know, taking selfies with famous people. That's a big thing that a lot of people are doing. And there's even lines to get like selfies with like Steve Vai. I walked by and I couldn't be bothered like standing in a line or trying to wait to talk to someone just to get like a selfie or ask them some question. It just seems kind of weird. But that's one thing you could do. And so now the other aspect is you can just take training all day. Now, I wouldn't advise this if you go for your first time, but I would check out a lot of the trainings. I probably did like 30% of my time that I was at NAMM was in these different training or seminar type things. The reason why you wouldn't necessarily want to do that is because if you're a member for like your company, you'll have access to all that stuff online. And if you're a media person, you're probably not supposed to go to those. I don't know. But I'm pretty sure if you're a media person, they still let you go, but you don't have access to them later. So, you know, that's how you have to think about it. Also, if you're there for media, it doesn't make as much sense to go to those things in the first place. And the next way is, of course, if you're there for like genuine business purposes, if you're there, let's say you work for a company and they send you, you're probably going to be focused on representing your company, your brand, whether that's talking and checking out gear because maybe you want to buy it and sell it in your store, or maybe you're there and you have a booth and you're just trying to like pitch your new products and describe it to people so that they can talk about it on their blogs or their YouTube channels or whatever. And there's actually this weird kind of pecking order that kind of develops. Now, not everyone does this, but you could kind of see that if someone saw your badge and it said that you were like another vendor, like depending on the person, they'll talk to you. They're going to be a normal person. But if they have a bunch of buyers around them, or if they have a distributor around them, that's someone who could make them $1 million. And you are just a person walking by, and you can't do anything. You're there as another vendor. So it doesn't, you know, there's a kind of pecking order that develops because of that. And then I noticed when I was walking around with my camera and a badge that said media and photography, people seemed a little more willing to like grab me when I was walking by, not literally, but be like, hey, want to check out this cool thing? And it makes sense because you're paying thousands of dollars to be there as a company or you know, small company, and you want to be able to get your stuff out of it. So seeing like a vendor there, it's cool to talk, but there's a weird pecking order that kind of develops. And next, I want to talk about how you should prepare if you're going for your first time. Now, I tried to look this up, and there's a cool blog article I found. I'll link below if I can find it again. But in general, there's a couple things I would do. Get some business cards. I made a bunch of business cards, and I only gave away a few, but it's good to have just in case you meet someone you might want to connect with later. 2, wear good shoes, because you're standing up and walking around for like 8 hours a day. And then if you do anything after, and it's right near Disneyland, across the street from Disneyland, your feet just get wrecked very, very, very fast. So that's the next big thing. Random from the future here. Forgot to add something. I mentioned that it was very hard on the feet, but overall, it's an absolutely exhausting experience. You're doing the NAMM thing for 8 hours if you do the whole day, but there also are night activities. And then you're right near Disneyland, and Disneyland's a great time. So even though I was there for 1 week and I went to NAMM for, 4 days? I went to Disney for 5 days too. So in the course of 7 days, there was a lot of overlap where like I was going to NAMM from like, you know, not you leave at like 9 and then you get there, you know, whenever you do, and then you start at 10 and you go to 6, then you're at Disney until midnight. It's brutal. After a week, I was like crushed, and I came home and I got super sick for like a week too. Now 3, if you're going there as a media person, I didn't want to spend my whole time documenting stuff in a proper way. You might see like Sonic State or a couple of those more newsy places covering stuff like record something, get like direct audio from the computer and have like a second microphone and then process the video later and upload as a news thing. That's not my thing. Maybe in the future I'll try to do that in a better way. I wanted to enjoy the experience but still get some awesome pictures. Now, if you follow me on Instagram, you saw I uploaded a ton of pictures like the day of, and I uploaded a bunch of Instagram stories. and that was really cool. But I made my priority was in enjoying things. But if you want to actually document things the right way, you're going to want to figure out some stuff ahead of time. Now, I would bring a camera or bring an audio recorder that has a way to not only have like a physical microphone, but also have a way to patch in a second audio source. Because a lot of these vendors will have headphones, and you can't like record that with a shotgun mic. So you also can't hear a damn thing in terms of talking, because people are allowed to demo stuff. Now, there are noise restrictions to make this manageable, but like there's always this horrible background noise everywhere. Things can get kind of loud for brief periods of time. And I'll show you like a conversation and demo that I had right now.
Neck pickup. So we're going the bridge pickup, and you go back to those chugs.
What's the leaf?
The leaf is basically if you have one pickup selected.
While it was still worthwhile to get these demos and be able to share in terms of writing on the Generic Studios blog, it wasn't like I could have been much more prepared. I could have brought a second audio recorder, had a handheld microphone that I held between me and the person giving me a demo, and I could have asked like, hey, instead of like patching this out to your speaker, or you have a way to split the cable, I could have brought a splitter and then route it to a second input in an audio recorder, or if you have a camera that has a second audio input. And lastly, I think I just want to leave you with some of my personal highlights from the NAMM 2020 show, because there's a lot of things that I wish, I mentioned not recording things as good as possible. I wish I could have like had it good enough where I could just upload those things, because I got some really great demos. Now, in particular, the ones that stood out most to me, there was Impact Soundworks Shreddage 3 Hydra, which is an 8-string contact library, and then it's kind of made to mimic like the Tosin Abasi 8-string sound, and they're using like a fantastic custom guitar, and they even demoed it to me using the like a Tosin Abasi branded virtual amp simulator, and it sounded fantastic. And I get a very extensive demo, and I've covered Shreddage 3 Precision on this channel. It uses the same interface, and it's just fantastic. I can't wait until that comes out and I can show that to you. And the next was Krotos and their concept synthesizer, and that's kind of like their first budget or consumer level software synthesizer. Typically, all of Krotos software is made for like the professional sound designer working on films and TV shows. And this was just like a synthesizer, like not like Massive X, but that kind of vein, like a cheaper consumer synthesizer. It had a ton of modulation control and some really cool randomization parameters where you could like control which parameters would get randomized and how much. And when you click the random button, it doesn't just like come up with this BS patch you can't use. And they're utilizing their audio input technology that they developed for their other softwares. So you can actually like use an audio input like a sidechain, or you can like do the voice thing where like you trigger certain modulation live while you're running through the synth, and then I'm guessing you could track that or something. But either way, it was cool, and I got a long demo. I can't wait to try it. It's already out, but I just haven't had the time to try it yet. Next, I don't have a video clip to show you this, but some pictures I'll put on the screen. 2HP is coming out with this thing called Lunchbox, and this is kind of like a stupid thing on just like talking about it, but like it just looks so cool, and it's at a good price. It's just a little lunchbox that you can put a bunch of modules in. Now, 2HP is a Eurorack company that develops Eurorack modules that are 2HP wide, and they're also coming out with some more modules. Like they're coming out with a sidechain compressor, they're coming out with a pitch shifter, and I forget what the third one is, but I have a full blog post that I'll link in the description that I made, and along with other blog posts that are related in this video, I'll put in the description as well. Highlight for me personally was definitely meeting Jerry finally. Another highlight for me was meeting the person in this mystery pick. If you know their name, put it in the comments. You better know who it is, one of my favorite YouTubers. There's a ton more cool things I saw. There was a bunch of new Eurorack modules. For example, Qubit had a bunch of like 4 new modules coming out this year, and they were like fantastic. And then 4MS had a really cool oscillator module that I can't wait. It sounded so good, and it had like this gigantic range of tones it could create. There was a lot of cool guitars. I'll put some pictures on the screen. And there were cool, like Roland had some cool synthesizers as well. There's just too much to talk about in this kind of thing. But overall, that's kind of like the highlights that when someone asks me what'd you see, that I would say. So overall, NAMM was freaking fantastic. I'm very glad I went, and I'm going to go back every year. Maybe after a couple of years, it'll start to turn into a bore, but at this moment in time, I'm glad I captured my excitement that I still have for it. And if you go next year, I'll make a video ahead of time and let's meet up. You know, I'd love to meet some people that watch my stuff and I've interacted with on my YouTube channel before. So yeah, let me know if you were there and I missed you. Make sure to subscribe for more because I upload videos every single Tuesday and Friday. Like the video if you enjoyed it. And yeah, see you Tuesday. Bye. All right, so Andrew from the future. I forgot to mention there's kind of a quality difference in the different days. There's 4 days of the show, right? And someone told me that they always do Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You know, I don't know if that's true, but the first 2 days were pretty chill. Like it was busy. You know, there's like 120,000 people that go there every year across the 4 days, but it was like normal. You could walk around and you didn't feel claustrophobic. The Saturday, for some reason, I don't know why, it was like twice as many people walking around. And that's also when you saw all of like the big celebrities walking around. So maybe that has something to do with it. Like I remember walking around and that day, there was just Misha, the guitarist of Periphery, and then the guitarist of Animals' leaders, Tosin Bassi. And that's when Steve Vai was there. And there was just so many people walking around and like crowding around people, playing little shows in the hallway. So I don't know if people just go for that day or if like tickets get like, people get limited time tickets or something. But yeah, it was insane. And then Sunday, for whatever reason, was like the opposite. Like things just died down and a lot of booths were closing early. And I don't know, someone mentioned to me that people like start packing up and they like give away extra passes or something for the last day, which is not allowed, I don't think. But I don't know. There was a lot of people showing up on that Sunday they hadn't registered yet. They showed up and they tried to get in and they were like, oh, I haven't registered my badge yet. And I'm thinking like, why the hell would you show up on the 4th day late and like, what the hell? You don't even have your badge registered. It's kind of a waste of a trip, you know?